Good evening. Good evening, all of you. Madhuri, good evening. Bharataraj, good evening. Usna, Ashutosh, Ankita, Sunil. Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible? Good evening, Madhuri, Jia. Okay, thank you, Bharatraj. So we were discussing the slave dynasty before the break. We discussed about Aibak, Qutbuddin Aibak, then Iltutmish, Razia. And then once Razia was killed, we have a power struggle. Muizuddin Bahram Shah became the Sultan, then Alauddin Masood Shah, and then he was also killed, and then came Nasruddin Mahmud. And during the time of Nasruddin Mahmud, the power behind the throne was Balban. So Balban was the person behind the throne. So let us talk about Balban. Let's talk about Balban. Who was this Balban? Now, Balban had been a slave. Understand this? He had been a slave. He was brought from the slave markets of West Asia to the Delhi slave market by the slave merchant. So once upon a time, he had been a slave. So the from the slave merchant from West Asia, from the markets of West Asia, brought him to the Delhi slave market, and there at Delhi, in the Delhi slave market, Iltutmish purchased him. Iltutmish purchased him along with many other slaves from the Delhi slave market, and soon Balban became the favorite of Iltutmish because Balban was a very humble, hardworking, humble servant of Iltutmish. So he appointed him as the Qasdar, the Sultan's Qasdar, personal attendant. Qasdar means personal attendant. He became a water carrier after that. He was carrying water to the palace. So he started his career like that as a water carrier, as a Sultan's Qasdar. Qasdar means personal attendant. If the Sultan Iltutmish wants to spit pan, he's munching pan and he wants to spit the pan, then he will call Balban, who will bring a bowl, and the Sultan will spit it in that bowl. So he began his career like that, Qasdar, personal attendant of the Sultan, water carrier, and he was very hardworking, humble, and very, very honest. He would never lie. He was very honest, hardworking, and Iltutmish liked him. So Iltutmish uh, made him one of the members of the Chalisa. So he became a Chalisa member. So he made him one of his members, Chalisa members, right? Then after the death of Balban, um, after Iltutmish died, we have Razia who became the Sultana. Razia. So under Razia, he became the Amiri Akur. Sorry, he became the master of the hunt. Amiri Shikar. Amiri Shikar. Amiri Shikar. What is Amiri Shikar? When the Sultan went to hunt in the forest, the hunt was organized by this officer called Amiri Shikar. So he was appointed as Amiri Shikar. Then, under Nasruddin Mahmud, Nasiruddin Mahmud, he became Wazir, Prime Minister. And then this Balban had a daughter. He had a daughter whom he gave in marriage to Nasruddin Mahmud. So Balban gave his daughter in marriage to Nasruddin Mahmud. Balban's daughter was married by Nasruddin Mahmud. As a result, he became the son-in-law of the Sultan. So he became the father-in-law of the Sultan, rather. Balban became the father-in-law of the Sultan. So the Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud appointed him as Naib Sultan. Naib means deputy Sultan. Naib Sultan or deputy Sultan, and all the administration was run by Balban. Nasruddin Mahmud was a very spiritually oriented Sultan. Most of the time, he would spend in prayers. Meditation, etc. And father-in-law Balban ran the administration. So he was acting as Naib Sultan, deputy Sultan, right? So he began his career in a very humble manner. He was a slave. He became the Kasdar or the personal attendant of Iltutmish and the water carrier. Then he appointed him as his bodyguard. He became Iltutmish's bodyguard. Then he was made a Chalisa member later by Iltutmish. Under Razi, under Razia, he became Amiri Shikar, master of the hunt. Under Nasruddin Mahmud, he was appointed as Wazir and then Naib Sultan. Now we are told by Isami. So we have a contemporary poet called Isami. Isami, he writes a book Futuh Salatin. Futuh Futuh Salatin. Futuh Salatin. In this book called Futuh Salatin, Isami tells us that Balban served his father-in-law, Sultan. Balban served his son-in-law, Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud, for 20 years loyally. So he was serving his son-in-law loyally for 20 years. And when Balban was about 65 years old, when Balban was about 65 years old, a desire arose in the mind of Balban to become Sultan himself. So we are told by Isami in his Futuh Salatin that Balban got his son-in-law, Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud, poisoned to death. He got him poisoned to death. And then Balban himself became Sultan. Balban became Sultan. Right? So he became Sultan like this. And what was his age? He was 65 years old when he became Sultan. And he ruled till 85 years old. That is, he ruled for 20 years. 20 years he ruled as Sultan. And Balban is considered to be the greatest of the slave rulers. Are you there with me? So this is the background of Balban, how he slowly rose to power and finally became Sultan after killing his son-in-law, Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud. Now, what did Balban do? Once he became Sultan, what did he do? See, this Balban was a peculiar fellow. Balban, a peculiar-minded fellow. He became Sultan at the age of 65 years and he wanted to strengthen the office of the Sultan. So he wanted all the powers to be in the hands of the Sultan. So he strengthened the office of the Sultan. Strengthened the office of the Sultan. How did he do it? Strengthen the office of Sultan. First of all, he introduced certain court etiquettes. Court etiquettes. What is this court etiquettes? Court manners. Court manners. So what is the court manners? Number one, a person who is coming to the court, the courtiers, the nobles, they were supposed to dress themselves properly, wear proper attire, and take a bath, wear the right type of clothes. And then, having come to the court, they were supposed to kiss the, that is, paibos, kissing the, paibos, that is kissing the feet of the Sultan, right? Then sajda. So just hold on. First of all, sajda. What is sajda? Prostration. That is, they have to, all their limbs should be touching the body, touching the ground. The forehead, the chest, the knees should be touching the ground before the Sultan. That's called sajda. Okay. Ashtanga namaskara. Ashtanga is 8 limbs. 8 limbs should be spread, touching the ground before the Sultan. That's called sajda, prostration. Then paibos. Paibos. What is paibos? Once you prostrate yourself before the Sultan, you're supposed to kiss the feet of the Sultan. So kissing the feet of the Sultan. kissing the Sultan's feet. Now, if you refuse to kiss, he will be killed. You better kiss, even if the Sultan has not washed his feet. So, they're supposed to kiss the feet of the Sultan. So, sajda, prostration, pai bows, kissing the Sultan's feet. Third is introduce Nowruz. Nowruz. Nowruz is the Persian New Year. Persian New Year festival. And on this festival and on important occasions, nobles were supposed to bring gifts to Balban. They cannot come empty-handed. They're supposed to carry gifts to the Sultan. They're supposed to carry gifts and then seek his blessings and give those gifts to him. So Sajda, Paibos, Nauros introduce all these things. Then Balban followed a policy of blood and iron. He followed the policy of blood and iron. What is policy of blood and iron? That is, might is right. Blood means violence, and iron is strength. Blood means violence, and iron is strength. So he followed a policy of blood and iron. Uh, so please understand, Balban was a member of the Chalisa. Earlier, he had been a member of the Chalisa, and he knew how potentially dangerous the Chalisa could be because they had changed sultans like they change dress, like people change dress, VIPs change dress. So they were responsible for the killing of many sultans. We have seen this, Alauddin, Masud Shah, then of course, we've seen this, isn't it? Then Nasruddin Mahmud was there. So Muizzuddin, Bahram Shah, Alauddin Masood Shah, Nasruddin Mahmud, all these had been killed by the Chalisa members. Uh, right? So here he could understand the potential danger the Chalisa could be for the Sultan. So what did Balban do once he became Sultan? One by one, he began to finish off the Chalisa members. Many had died already by this time because these ministers had got old. Iltutmish was the one who had appointed them as Chalisa members. So many of them had died, and those who were alive were finished off by Balban. For example, we have this governor of Bengal, Tughril Khan. So Tughril Khan, he was the governor of Bengal. He rebelled against Balban. He was one of the Chalisa members. So rebelled against Balban. Balban marched to Bengal, defeated Tughril Khan, and cut off his head. He beheaded him. And Balban appointed his second son. Balban's second son was Bughra Khan. So he appointed his second son, Bughra Khan, as the governor of Bengal. Similarly, there was a noble, a member of the Chalisa called Malik Bakbak. Malik Bakbak. This fellow, having got drunk in a drunken state, he killed his servant. Okay, he got drunk and killed his servant. So, taking that opportunity, Balban got that person flogged to death. So Malik Balbak was flogged to death, and he was handed over to the dead body of Malik Balbak was handed over to the person's widow, whomever he had killed. So this way, one by one, he finished off the Chalisa members. Okay, so he followed a policy of blood and iron. Now, Mongol attacks began during the time of Iltutmish, and even during the time of Balban, they continued. So what did Balban do? He strengthened the forts. He built new forts and strengthened the border area forts. Uh, okay, he strengthened the border area forts, and he appointed experienced officers there. Now he also was responsible for the destruction of the Mios. So Mios you know um, were living. They were robbers. Mios were robbers from the Mewat region. So all those travelers passing via Mewat towards Delhi and vice versa, these Mios would rob them, and they had that jungle hideouts. They would be living in the jungles. So and of course, when women go out of the village, you have outskirts. Many wells are on the outskirts of the village. So women of the village had to walk up all the way to the outskirts of the village to pick up water, to draw water from the wells and bring it home. So these Meos will wait for such opportunities, and they'll kidnap those women, molest them, rape them. All those things was there, and also they will rob the merchants and traders on the highways. So when Balban came to know about that, he took his army and went into the forest, and he searched for those Meos. They were hunted down and they were killed one by one. They were killed. So he destroyed the Meos. Balban is also the person who no, who hung a bell of justice. So he hung a bell of justice. So I think this was Iltutmish, not Balban. We'll come back here. So he introduced a coin called dirham. Introduced a gold coin called dirham, right? According to Ibn Battuta, he introduced a gold coin called dirham. Now in 1285, there was a serious attack of the Mongols on the border. So, Samana, Dipalpur, these are all the border areas where forts had been built by Balban. He had appointed experienced officers, including his son, Prince Muhammad. Prince Muhammad was Balban's eldest son, Prince Muhammad. So he was the eldest son of Balban and the favorite son. So he had appointed his eldest son to guard the frontier areas, to supervise and guard the frontier areas. In 1285, there was a serious Mongol attack on the Delhi Sultanate. And on the borders, Prince Muhammad fought bravely with his army, and he was able to repel the Mongol attack. He was able to beat back the Mongol attack. But in the process of doing so, unfortunately, Prince Muhammad lost his life. Prince Muhammad died. So this broke the heart of Balban. Balban was about 85 years old now. So it broke the heart of Balban because he had lost his eldest son. So he gave a title to his son, his deceased son, Khan e Shahid. He called him Khan e Shahid. And then requested his second son, Bugra, to come to Delhi and take over the throne. He said, Bugra, please come to Delhi from Bengal. So you can see here, Bugra Khan was the governor of Bengal, Bugra. So he was appointed as the governor of Bengal. But Bugra told his father that he is happy in Bengal. He doesn't want to come to Delhi. He's happy wherever he is. He was also afraid of his father, Bugra Khan. Thereupon, when Bugra refused to become the Sultan and sit on the throne, Balban, in his old age, when he was 85 years old, appointed late Prince Muhammad's son, Kai Kushru, as the next Sultan. So Kai Kushru was appointed as the next Sultan. And so he was a son of late Prince Muhammad. Okay, it's the same person who died in the Mongol attack. Now, after Balban died, and so Balban died after that. Once Balban died, we have Fakhruddin. Fakhruddin, he was the Kotwal of Delhi. He was the Kotwal at Delhi. This Kotwal at Delhi, Fakhruddin, forced Kai Khusro to Multan. He sent away Kai Khusro to Multan and appointed Bugra Khan's son, Kaikubad, as the next ruler. So Kaikubad became the ruler. Who was Kaikubad? Kaikubad was Bugra Khan's son. So when Kaikubad refused to come to Delhi, Bugra Khan's son, Kaikubad, was made the next sultan. Kaikubad. Are you there with me? So he was 17 years old. 17 years old. 17 years when he became sultan. And a sultan can do anything. So this boy, he was just a boy, Kaikubad. And he was the sultan now. And Kaikubad began to indulge himself in wine, women, opium. So he day and night began to indulge himself in wine, women, and opium. And he lost his health. And he became paralytic. So Kaikubad became paralytic, paralytic. When he became paralytic, his 3-year-old son, Kayumars, was placed on the throne. Kayumars, 3-year-old boy, 3-year-old son of Kaikubad is this Kayumars. He was placed on the throne. Now imagine 3-year-old boy sitting on the throne, and he was called Sultan. So this was a joke. So therefore, what happened is we have Malik Firoz. Malik Firoz, he was the commander in chief. Malik Firoz, Mir Bakshi. So he was a commander in chief. Along with some of his nobles, ministers, killed Kaikubad. So Malik Firoz killed Kaikubad, killed Kayumars, and so he was a Diwani Aziz, so, okay, so here Malik Firoz was a commander of the army. So he killed Kaikubad, killed Kayumars, and ended the slave dynasty. And Malik Firoz came to power with the title Jalaluddin Firuz Khalji. Jalaluddin Firuz Khalji, and established the Khalji dynasty, and thus established the Khalji dynasty, right? So this is about Balban and what happened after that. We'll come back here. And one more thing is, Balban is a person who established the military department. He established the military department called Diwani Aris. Diwan A Aris. And appointed a commander called Aris-e Mamalik. Aris-e Mamalik. So Aris-e Mamalik became the commander-in-chief, and Diwani Aris is the military department. Military department established by Balban. Okay, so this is the story of Balban. Are you there with me? So we'll come back and discuss here. So Qutbuddin Aibak we have seen. Razia we have seen. We'll come back here. Razia. So Razia, you can see Razia Sultana, the only woman to sit on the throne of Delhi. Only woman. So there was a power struggle between the crown and the nobility during her period. And Minhaj-us-Siraj says she was endowed with all the qualities befitting a king. She was blessed. Endowed means blessed. She was blessed with all the qualities befitting a king, but she was not born of the right sex. And so, in the estimation of men, all these virtues were worthless. So, she was opposed by the ulema, Muslim clergy, Muslim religious teachers, Shah Turkan, the stepmother, and Nizamul Mulk Junaidi, the prime minister, Junaidi. Then she appointed an Abyssinian slave, I told you, Ethiopian slave, called Jamaluddin Yakut, as Amiri Akur, head of the cavalry or master of the stables. And she was trying to create a parallel group of ministers who will be loyal to her, will support her. Then we have the serious revolt of Altunia. Many revolts began to take place because she was a female. So Altunia, the governor of Sirhind or Batinda, governor of Sirhind, also called Batinda, sometimes in the books, he revolted against Razia. So she put down the revolt, but in the process of doing so, Yakut was killed by Altunia, and she was imprisoned. Razia was imprisoned. She won over Altonia and married him, but later both were killed on the way. So as you can see, you have only Razia ruling for 4 years, 1236 to 40. Only 4 years she ruled. Right? Then we have a power struggle. Moizuddin Bahram Shah came to power. He was one of the sons of Iltutmish. He ruled for only 2 years, as you can see, 1240 to 1242. Then Alauddin Masud Shah became the Sultan. He ruled for 4 years. He was killed by rival nobles, and then finally power came into the hands of Nasruddin Mahmud, another son of Iltutmish. And during his period, we have Balban, who was the power behind the throne. Nasruddin Mahmud patronized a scholar called Minhaj-us-Siraj, who wrote Tabaqat-i Nasiri, which gives us the history of the slave dynasty. Minhaj-us-Siraj writes Tabaqat-i Nasiri. So after Nasruddin Mahmud. Now Balban. So Balban, we discussed Balban. So he was a powerful noble, the de facto ruler, and also Naib Sultan, Deputy Sultan. He was the father-in-law of the Sultan, Nasruddin Mahmud. So I forgot to mention this. This was a UPSC question. Understand this? Now, Balban, who was Balban? He was a foreigner. He had come from West Asia, somewhere in West Asia, and slowly he had become the Deputy Sultan, Wazir as well as Deputy Sultan. Now, there were some Indian Muslims who were very jealous of him. Their leader was Imaduddin Raihan. You see here, Imaduddin Raihan. Imad, this Imaduddin Raihan was the leader of the Indian Muslims, Indian Muslim nobles, Indian Muslim nobles, and they were jealous of Balban. So what happened is, Imaduddin Raihan and his supporters, they were trying to create rumors about Balban uh, and fill up the ears of the Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud against Balban. So they were successful for some time. They began to uh, cast aspersions on Balban and his intentions, etc. And they saw to it that Balban is sent away from Delhi. So Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud, listening to Imaduddin Raihan and his supporters, sent Balban away to his Ikta at Hansi. So Hansi in Haryana was the Ikta of Balban, right? So he was sent away to Hansi. Now, they forgot that Balban was the father-in-law of the Sultan, and the daughter will not keep quiet. Balban's daughter will not keep quiet, and moreover, Balban had not done anything which would invite the anger of the Sultan. He had loyally served his son-in-law, the Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud, for 20 years. So, very soon, the Sultan realized that this was a conspiracy against Balban hatched by the Indian Muslim nobles under Imaduddin Raihan. So he recalled Balban back from Hansi. So Balban was back in Delhi within no time, within a very short period of time. And Balban saw to it that Imaduddin Raihan is sent away from Delhi to Budaun. So Budaun in UP was the Ikta of Imaduddin Raihan. So Imaduddin Raihan was sent away to Budaun in UP. Did you get me? This was a UPSC question asked in the prelims. Hello? Can you raise? Fakhruddin was a Kotwal of Delhi. Jia, Kotwal of Delhi was Fakhruddin. Please raise your hand. Did you understand? Did you understand? Hello? Yeah. Ikta, I've told you Ikta, Shilpa. Ikta is, you know, Iltutmish was the one who began to pay officers land grants called Iktas, along with delegation of powers. Ikta, Shilpa, I've told you, explained that when I did Iltutmish. Yeah? Yeah, still is son-in-law. Correct. In short, I have used those words, Kennedy. Okay, so Balban was sent away to his Ikta at Hansi in Haryana, but he was soon back in Delhi, and he saw to it that Imaduddin Raihan is sent away to Budan in UP, which was his Ikta. And ultimately, we are told by Isami in his Futuhus Salatin book, he says Balban poisoned his son-in-law Sultan Nasruddin Mahmud and then came to power. Balban, okay, Balban, Giyasuddin Balban. So under Iltutmish, he was a slave and bodyguard of Iltutmish. Then under Razia, he became Amir-i Shikar, master of the hunt. Nasruddin Mahmud made him Wazir and later Deputy Sultan. He is considered to be the greatest of the slave dynasty. What was his foremost objective? To establish an absolute monarchy and restore the prestige of the crown. One more thing I forgot to mention, Balban, he created a terror. He created a reign of terror in his kingdom because he wanted all the powers to be in the hands of the Sultan, and told you how he finished off the Chalisa members one by one. Similarly, when he went out in the public, he created a fear and a respect and a awe. Like, for example, hundreds of bodyguards, well-built bodyguards, would surround Balban, and they would have their swords unsheathed, and they will be shouting, Bismillah, Bismillah. They'll be shouting like that loudly. So when the people see this, there's a certain amount of respect, awe, fear, all that towards Balban. Similarly, in the court, in the open court, Balban would never show his emotions. He will not smile, neither will he laugh loudly. He'll not smile, he'll not laugh, he'll not talk much. He'll keep a stone-like face, silence. So looking at the Sultan, others also will not, they'll be afraid of the Sultan because the Sultan is not smiling. Even if a joke is cracked, he will not laugh. The Sultan will not do that. In the middle of the night, if let us say there's a spy and he wants to convey some important message to the Sultan, and the Sultan has to be woken up from his slumber, from his sleep. So the door is knocked. The Sultan is called out for, and the door is knocked. Let us say he will not open the door and come out in his night dress like all of us do. In a haggard manner, in a half, in a sleepy mood. He will not do that. He will make the person wait. He'll tell him he'll be coming, and that person has to wait. And then the Sultan will get up, and then he'll dress up. He'll wear all his royal regalia, all his dress, jewels, crown, etc. And he'll aram say come, and then he'll sit, and then he'll ask, what is the matter? So he never appeared in a haggard manner, right? And then Balban also began to claim descent from Afrasiab. There was a folk hero in Iran called Afrasiab. So he began to call himself as the descendant of Afrasiab. Everybody knew that he was a slave. But then, once he became Sultan, he began to claim a blue-blooded line that comes from he was a descendant of Afrasiab, right? Then, Balban is also the person who never gave important positions to ordinary people. So that ordinary people means coming from a humble background, from a simple background, from a poor background. That person should be from a rich background, and he should be a Turk, and he should be from a wealthy, well-off family. Only such people, irrespective of whether that person is capable or not, meritorious or not, doesn't matter. Since he belongs to that family, important positions were given to that person. So peculiar fellow this Balban was. So we'll come back here. He followed a policy of blood and iron, right? So then he took these titles, Zilli Ilahi, shadow of God. He called himself a shadow of God, Zilli Ilahi, Naib Khuda, regent of God, Nasir Amir ul Mumin, Caliph's right hand man. He called himself as Caliph's right hand man, regent of God, Naib Khuda, Zilli Ilahi, shadow of God. So he was attributing divinity to himself, to the office of the Sultan. He started three Persian practices. One is Sijda, prostration to the Sultan. That is, all the 8 limbs should be touching the floor, the chest, the forehead, the chest, the knees, etc. Having prostrated before the Sultan, kiss the Sultan's feet. Paibos, Nauros, Persian New Year. Then he traced his ancestry from the legendary hero Afrasiab. He destroyed the power of the Chehalgani. I told you this. He suppressed the rebellion of Tughril Khan, governor of Bengal, and beheaded him. And Balban appointed his second son, Bughra Khan, as a new governor of Bengal. He also exterminated the Mios. So they were hilly robbed people of Mewat region who used to create a lot of problems, kidnap women, rob the travelers, etc. So he restored law and order by exterminating these robbers called Mios. He set up a bell of justice. A bell of justice was set up by Balban. So as you know, justice delayed is justice denied. Justice delayed is justice denied. So if any person aggrieved, male or female, he or she felt that justice has not been done to that person, there was a bell hanging with a long rope near the palace. So 24 hours in a day, anybody could come there, even in the middle of the night, and come and ring the bell. It was a giant bell. Like in a church, you have a huge bell, isn't it? So that bell would be rung by that person. The Sultan himself will come personally. He'll come to the balcony and he will inquire as to what the matter was. And then the Sultan will give instant justice. So this is the bell of justice which Balban introduced. Then he separated the military functions from the finance, established the military department, Diwani Aris, military department, and appointed a commander called Arisi Mamalik. He also introduced a gold coin called dirham, right? This is the gold coin introduced by Balban. Then he strengthened the border area forts, Batinda, Sunam, Samana, posted experienced officers at the border. And then in one Mongol attack in 1285, he lost his eldest son, Prince Muhammad, who was given the title Khan-e-Shahid. So he became a martyr. Khan-e-Shahid means martyr. This broke the heart of Balban. So he requested Bughra to come from Bengal and become the Sultan, but Bughra refused. And thereupon, Balban, on his deathbed, appointed Kai Khusro, the late Prince Muhammad's son, as his successor, and he died. Once Balban died, we have Fakhruddin, the Kotwal of Delhi. Kotwal means head of the police department. Kotwal is head of the police head. So the Kotwal of Delhi, Fakhruddin, sent Kaikhushru away to Multan, far away to Multan, and appointed Kaikubad, Bughra Khan's son, as the next sultan. Now, please understand, Kaikubad is the first sultan to become sultan when father was still alive. Please take down that. Kaikubad, first sultan to become sultan, first king to become sultan, or first sultan to become sultan when father was still alive. When father, who was his father? When father was still alive. Who was Kaikubad's father? Class? Who was Kaikubad's father? Bughra. Very good, Shilpa. Bughra Khan. So when father was still, Bughra was still alive. You see, among the Delhi sultans, the issue of succession came after the death of the sultan. When the sultan is alive, no question of succession. No question of succession. Only when the sultan died, the next question arose as to who should become the next sultan. Here, Bughra was very much alive, but then Kaikubad became sultan. So first sultan to become sultan when father was still alive, right? I told you Kaikubad indulged himself, young fellow, 17 years old, a teenager with so much of powers, so much of money. He was a sultan. He could do anything he wanted. And as a result, he began to abuse himself with wine, women, opium. He lost his health, became a paralytic. As a result, his 3-year-old son was placed on the throne. Imagine Kayumar's 3-year-old boy, okay, eating a lollipop and sitting on a throne. So imagine that. You imagine that scene, how it would be. It was a joke. So some of the nobles, along with Malik Firoz, he was the Arizi Mamalik, commander in chief, CNC. He, along with some nobles, killed Kaikubad, killed Kayumar's Kaikubad's son, and seized the throne. And Malik Firoz took the title Jalaluddin Firoz Khalji. This was the end of the Ilbari Turks or the slave dynasty, and we have the Khaljis who come to power, right? Khaljis who came to power. So Khalji dynasty, 1290 to 1320. 1290 to 1320. Any doubts? Any questions? Hello? Any doubts? Any questions? Hello? No doubt. No doubts. Okay. So let us talk about the Khaljis. Now, who are these Khaljis? They were from Khalj in Afghanistan. So Khalj is a place in Afghanistan, and therefore they're called Khaljis or Khiljis. The coming of the Khiljis is considered to be a revolution. So as I mentioned it here, Khalji revolution. So the coming of the Khaljis to power is considered to be a revolution. Why? You see, earlier, all the important positions in the government, in the civil, military, judicial, religious departments, they were all held by Turks. They were all held by Turks. What the Khaljis did is they broad-based the administration. They broad-based the administration. That is, important posts were given to people. Important posts were given to people not on the basis of birth, not on the basis of birth or wealth, but on the basis of ability and merit. On the basis of ability and merit, not on the basis of birth and wealth. So even the Khaljis. So here, if you remember, Balban only gave posts to people coming from some certain families and belonging to a certain race, Turkish race. And that was the case even among the other sultans. All the important departments were held by the Turks. The offices were held by the Turks. Now, even Hindustani Muslims, that is Sheikh Zadas means Hindustani Muslims, Muslim converts. So Indian Muslims, Sheikh and also Afghans were given important positions in the government under the Khaljis. So they put an end to the monopolization of power by the Turkish slave aristocracy, an end of racial dictatorship, right? So this is one thing. They broad-based administration, important posts were given to people on the basis of ability and merit, and not on the basis of birth or wealth. And even Sheikhzadas and Afghans were given important positions, Indian Muslims and Afghans. Number two, the Khaljis conquered almost the whole of India, particularly under Alauddin Khalji. He conquered the whole of India, almost the whole of India. And that way, he introduced political homogeneity. So, one political authority ruling almost the whole of India. Okay, so political homogeneity over India. So it is political homogeneity over India, right? So this is why the coming of the Khaljis is called a revolution, Khalji revolution. Did you understand? Hello, this is called Khalji revolution. No, they were from Afghanistan. Thus it means they are Afghans. Nikhil, no, they were from Khalj in Afghanistan, and therefore they are called Khaljis. They were Turks. It is something like you know all people from India are Hindus. Can you say that? There are so many people living here: Christians, Muslims, Parsis, you know, etc. So they're not that. They were Turks. Khaljis were Turks, Beres, but they were from Afghanistan. Okay, Nikhil. So don't presume that they were Afghans. No, if they were Afghans, I would have told you. Historians would have told you. So they were very much Turks. Now let us talk about the Khaljis. Okay. So who are the important kings? You can see here four rulers: Jalaluddin Khalji, Alauddin Khalji, Qutbuddin Mubarak Khalji, Nasruddin Khusro. Now you know this. You can see here Balban had appointed Kai Khusro as his successor, that is late Prince Muhammad's son. But then the Delhi Kotwal, Fakhruddin, sent away Kai Khusro to Multan and appointed Kaikubad, that is Bughra Khan's son, as the Sultan. And Kaikubad became paralytic. Then his 3-year-old son was placed on the throne, Kayumars. Malik Firoz, the Arizi Mamalik, commander-in-chief, along with a few nobles, killed Kaikubad and Kayumars and seized the throne. So Malik Firoz took the title Jalaluddin Firuz Khalji. So here you see Jalaluddin Khalji, Jalaluddin Firuz Khalji. When he came to power, he was a young man of 70. So he was already 70 years old when Jalaluddin Khalji came to power. He ruled for 6 years. Okay, and he believed that the state in India cannot be truly Islamic. You cannot call India as an Islamic state. You cannot establish an Islamic state. Why? Because majority of the population were Hindus. And since a majority of the population were Hindus, you cannot call the state as a Islamic state, and we cannot govern without the concurrence of the subjects, without the support of the subjects. That's what he believed in. Now, this Jalaluddin Khalji was a very peculiar fellow, unpredictable by nature, unpredictable by nature. He was about 70 years old when he came to power. There was one Sufi saint in Delhi. His name was Siddhi Maula. Siddhi Maula. He was a Sufi saint. Without any reason, he got him arrested and killed. So he got him executed for no reason. Then we have the Mongols attacking Delhi. When Jalaluddin Khalji was the Sultan, Mongols under the leader Abdullah attacked Delhi. So Mongols attacked Delhi under the leader Abdullah. Jalaluddin Khalji defeated the Mongols, but then he requested Abdullah and his supporters to settle down on the outskirts of Delhi. Jalaluddin Khalji gave also one of his daughters in marriage to this Abdullah. So Mongols attacked Delhi under Abdullah, their leader. Jalaluddin Khalji defeated the Mongols, right? But requested Abdullah and his supporters to settle down on the outskirts of Delhi. And he also gave his daughter, one of his daughters, in marriage to Abdullah. These Mongols came to be called Naya Musalmans. Naya Musalmans. Right. Then, of course, he crushed the thugs. He crushed the thugs, the robbers of Bengal. Okay, and exiled them. Now, look here. This Jalaluddin Khalji, all of you are there with me. This Jalaluddin Khalji had many daughters. He had many daughters, and he had given them in marriage to many governors. One governor was a person called Ali Gurshap, Ali Gurshasp, Ali Gurshasp. He was appointed as the governor of Kara and Manikpur. Governor of Kara and Manikpur in Madhya Pradesh. Ali Gurshap happened to be the nephew also of Jalaluddin Khalji. He also happened to be his nephew of Jalaluddin Khalji, Ali Gurshap, nephew and son-in-law. Right. Now, understand this. This Ali Gurshasp was a very ambitious man. So what happened is he attacked Bhilsa. Ali Gurshasp wanted to become the Sultan. He was a very ambitious man. So how did he plan? Look at this. He attacked Bhilsa in Madhya Pradesh. So there's a place called Bhilsa in Madhya Pradesh. So he attacked Bhilsa and plundered Bhilsa, looted Bhilsa. And the entire loot of Bilsa was handed over to Jalaluddin Khalji. He handed over the entire loot of Bilsa without taking a pie to Jalaluddin Khalji. And Jalaluddin Khalji was so happy with his son-in-law. He has not even taken one pie from this loot. He has given away everything to me. So what a lovely son-in-law I have. Then, after having given away the loot of Bilsa to Jalaluddin Khalji, Ali Gurshap asked his father-in-law, Jalaluddin Khalji, permission to expand his army. Father-in-law, please give me permission to expand my army. So Jalaluddin Khalji said, go ahead, expand your army. In fact, Jalaluddin Khalji appointed Ali Gurshap as the Arizi Mamalik. He made him the commander-in-chief of the Delhi army, Arizi Mamalik. And also gave him the additional charge of Awadh in UP. So there's a place called Awadh in UP, Awadh or Audh. He was given this additional charge of Awadh, made the governor of this additional place called Awadh. So, this way he had won over the confidence of his father-in-law, this Ali Gurshap. You know why he gave away the entire wealth of Bilsa to Jalaluddin Khalji? Because by this time, Ali Gurshap's spies had brought a news to him. What was the news? The news was there was a lot of wealth in the Yadava kingdom of Devagiri. You have the Yadavas ruling here in Maharashtra, present day Maharashtra, Yadavas of Devagiri. Devagiri was their capital. Devagiri is a place even now on the outskirts of Aurangabad city, Maharashtra, outskirts of Aurangabad, Devagiri. So the king of Yadavas was Ramachandra Deva. Ramachandra Deva. And the spies of Ali Gurshas had brought a news to him stating that there's a lot of wealth in the treasury of Ramachandra Deva. So what he did is he gave up the entire loot of Bilsa to Jalaluddin Khalji, and then won over the confidence of his father-in-law Jalaluddin Khalji, the Sultan, and then he made a lightning attack on Yadava kingdom. Ali Gurshap attacked Yadava kingdom, defeated Ramachandra Deva, plundered the treasury. He looted the treasury, the entire treasury was looted by him, and he brought all the treasury to Kara and Manikpur, where he was the governor. Are you there with me? So he brought the entire loot of Devagiri to Kara and Manikpur, where he was the governor. Jalaluddin Khalji, around this time, was on his Gwalior campaign. Gwalior is in Madhya Pradesh, as you all know. So he was on his Gwalior campaign. Jalaluddin Khalji was on his Gwalior campaign. There's no space to write there on the map. So I'm writing here. So he was on his Gwalior campaign. And the spies of Jalaluddin Khalji, the officers, brought news to him, stating that his son-in-law, Ali Gurshasp, has brought a lot of wealth from Devagiri. Lot of wealth has been brought by him to Devagiri, from Devagiri. So Jalaluddin Khalji got greedy. So he asked Ali Gurshasp, where is my share? Where is the king's share? Now look here. Out of the total loot, are you there with me, all of you? Are you able to relate to me? Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Hello? Okay, everybody is clear. Now, out of the total loot, so he has brought a lot of wealth from Devagiri, loot from Devagiri. Out of the total loot, out of the total loot, 1/5 should go to the king, and that is called comes. Understand this. Understand these words. This is called comes. 1/5 should go to the king. That is 20%. This is called king share. Comes is called king share. And the rest, 80%, is called Ghanima. Ghanima. That is 4/5. 4/5 or 80% would be shared by the soldiers. This is called soldier share. Soldier share. Ghanima. King share 20%. 1/5. So here, having come to know that his son-in-law Ali Gurshasp had brought a lot of loot from Devagiri, Jalaluddin Khalji asked his son-in-law his share, king's share of 20%. And I told you he was on his Gwalior campaign. So Ali Gurshasp, who had already won over the confidence of his father-in-law, the Sultan Jalaluddin Khalji, told his father-in-law, please come to Kara and Manikpur. You come to Kara and Manikpur, I will give you your share. After all, everything is yours. Nothing is mine. Everything is yours. I'll give you your share. Please come. Now, Jalaluddin Khalji had some ministers who were very, very loyal to him, very, very faithful to him, the Jalali nobles, faithful to Jalaluddin Khalji. And they advised the Sultan, please don't go to Kara and Manikpur. Your son-in-law is a crook. He's a very dangerous fellow. And you may be under a harm. You may be harmed by him. So please don't go there. But you remember what Ali Gurshap had done? He had already won over his father-in-law by giving away the entire loot of Bilsa, okay, and all that. So Jalaluddin Khalji set aside that counsel, whatever advice had been given to him, he ignored that. He pushed it to the side, and then he goes to Kara and Manikpur to claim his share, the king's share of 20% of Devagiri's booty. There, when the Sultan came, Jalaluddin Khalji came to Kara and Manikpur, Ali Gurshap murdered his father-in-law. He murdered him and killed him. Right? There was a lot of opposition. The Jalali nobles got very angry with Ali Gurshap that he had murdered his own father-in-law and the Sultan Jalaluddin Khalji. But then, what did Ali Gurshap do? He had brought a lot of wealth from Devagiri. He bribed all those ministers. He bribed them heavily, all the ministers loyal to Jalaluddin Khalji. They received huge amount of wealth, which they had never seen in their life. They shut their mouth, and then they hailed him, they praised him, and they supported Ali Gurshap. And Ali Gurshap, having won over all those Jalali nobles to his side, went to Delhi, sat on the throne, and took the title Alauddin Khalji. He took the title Alauddin Khalji. And Alauddin Khalji became the greatest of the Delhi sultans. Okay, this is how he comes to power. Alauddin Khalji. Did you get me there? So that's how he comes to power after murdering his father-in-law. and using the loot of Devagiri to come to power by buying off the Jalali nobles, all those nobles loyal to Jalaluddin Khalji. So once Alauddin Khalji came to power, what was his ambition? Now look here, he had two ambitions. No, Alauddin Khalji had two ambitions. So you have Ziauddin Barani tells us that he had two ambitions. One was to found a new religion like Prophet Muhammad, to found a new religion like Prophet Muhammad. And number two, to conquer the whole world like Alexander, to conquer the whole world like Alexander the Great. Right. Now, these are the two ambitions of Alauddin Khalji, to found a new religion like Prophet Muhammad and to conquer the whole world like Alexander. And he would not listen to anybody except an uncle of his called Allah ul Mulk. Allah ul Mulk was an old friend and an uncle of his. And he would only listen to this man, Allah ul Mulk. And this Allah ul Mulk advised Alauddin Khalji, you are an ordinary human being. You are not a prophet. From the beginning, from bygone times, religions have been founded by prophets. You are not a prophet. You are not a messenger of God. Therefore, forget about founding a new religion. So it made sense to him. It was a straight talk made by Allah ul Mulk that made sense to Alauddin Khalji. So he forgot about it. He said it's stupid on his part. So he forgot about it. Then Allah ul Mulk told him, instead of conquering the whole world, think of us conquering India. You have not even conquered India. How can you think of conquering the whole world? That also made sense to him. So here, Alauddin Khalji organized an army. Okay, he organized an army. It was a standing army. What is the meaning of standing army? An army which was at his beck and call. He would pay them salaries. Monthly salaries were paid to them, and they would await the Sultan's orders to attack. So he had a standing army, his own army. He was not dependent on feudal levies, right? That is the meaning of standing army. He paid them salaries, and they were under his command. So we are told by Ferishta that Alauddin Khalji. So Ferishta tells us, a historian, he says his army was of 4.5 lakh strength. He had an army of 4.5 lakhs. Nobody in India during those days had an army of that size, 4.5 lakh standing army. And these were heavily trained, equipped soldiers who were given monthly salaries. And they were at the command of the Sultan. So Alauddin, we have to study Alauddin in a few parts. One is the conquest of Alauddin Khalji, his conquest, revenue reforms, military reforms, and market reforms. So in the Delhi Sultanate chapter, he is one of the important kings. You see, in the Delhi Sultanate chapter, okay, wait. In this Sultanate chapter, we have a few kings you have to remember. Of course, Qutbuddin Aibak is there, of course. Qutbuddin Aibak. Iltutmish, he becomes important. Iltutmish. Razia, because only for women to sit on the throne of Delhi. Balban. Then Alauddin Khalji. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Firuz Shah Tughlaq. Firuz Tughlaq. So these are the important sultans. These are the important kings. Among them, I would say Iltutmish, Balban, Alauddin Khalji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firuz Tughlaq. These are the five people who are important. Iltutmish, Balban, Alauddin Khalji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firuz Shah Tughlaq. So these are important kings. Remember them. The rest are all fringe elements. So they are all, on the borders, fringe elements. Not very important, but important from the exam point of view. Here and there, some factual information can be asked by the examiner. So we will discuss it. But these are the main players. They are the main players. Core group, as you call it, in among the Delhi Sultans. Core group, right? Now we'll talk about Alauddin Khalji. This is how he comes to power. So, you can come back here. So, Jalaluddin Khalji, he crushed the thugs. Then he repelled the attack of the Mongols under Abdullah. And many of the Mongol invaders settled near Delhi, and they were called Naya Musalmans, New Musalmans. He was assassinated by his nephew and son-in-law Ali Gurshas, governor of Kara and Manikpur, who crowned himself the Sultan. So Alauddin Khalji, 1296 to 1316. He ruled for 20 years. Alauddin Khalji ruled for 20 years. Original name Ali Gurshasp, as you know. Then he had plundered Bilsa in Madhya Pradesh and was appointed Arisi Mamalik and given the additional charge of Awadh. Then he invaded Devagiri, ruled by Ramachandra Deva, plundered its treasury, and then with that money, he later killed Jalaluddin, and then he won over all the nobles to his side, and then came to Delhi and captured the throne. So Alauddin Khalji. So here, um, so Alauddin Khalji is the person who conquered almost the whole of India. First, North India was conquered, and later South India, major parts of South India was conquered by his commander Malik Kafur. So here, um, after the Gupta Empire, the next biggest empire would be his. So he gave administrative unity to the country for the first time after the Gupta era. So Guptas ruled almost the whole of North India, but his empire was much beyond that of the Guptas, much bigger than that of the Guptas. So with whatever limitations of transport and communication was there during those days, he was able to give a such semblance of political unity to the major parts of India with the limitations of transport and communication which were existing during those days. So we will talk about the conquest of Alauddin Khalji first. So Ziauddin Barani, I told you, the contemporary historian Zia Barani, he gives us two aims. He tells he had two aims. One is to conquer the whole world like Alexander, and second is to found a new religion like Prophet Muhammad. Okay. Now let us look at the let us look at Alauddin's campaigns, Alauddin Khalji's conquests. All of you, are you there with me? All of you, can I move on? Okay. Okay. Now look here. You look at the chart here. Now, first North India was conquered by Alauddin Khalji. First North India was conquered. So he had organized a huge army of 4.5 lakhs. First he attacked Gujarat and he sent two of his commanders to do the job for him, Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan. Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan. Okay. Now, so here you can see Gujarat. Gujarat on your screen. This is Gujarat. And Gujarat was ruled by Rai Karnadeva of the Waghela dynasty. Karnadeva, Rai Karnadeva. He was Rai Karnadeva. So he was the king of Gujarat. And Alauddin Khalji sent a huge army under his commanders, Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan. So this is the first attack, Gujarat. Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan. They commanded the army. And the Gujarat king, Rai Karnadeva, fought bravely. He fought bravely with whatever resources he had, but he was defeated. And then Rai Karnadeva ran away to Devagiri. He ran away to Devagiri. You can see here, Devagiri is here, Yadava kingdom. This was the Yadava kingdom, Yadavas of Devagiri. So Rai Karnadeva ran away with his daughter Devala Devi. So Rai Karnadeva ran away with his daughter Devala Devi. The queen Kamala Devi was caught. Queen Kamala Devi was captured. So she was the mother of Devala Devi, Queen Kamala Devi. She was still young and beautiful, and she was sent as a gift to Alauddin Khalji at Delhi. So Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan sent Kamala Devi as a gift. So here, when Alauddin Khalji saw Kamala Devi, he was smitten by her beauty. She was very beautiful, I believe. So he was smitten by her beauty, and he married Kamala Devi. He married Kamala Devi and made her his chief queen, Malika Jahan. Malika Jahan. Not that she voluntarily married him, otherwise he would have killed her. So he marries her, he marries Kamala Devi and makes her the chief queen, Malika Jahan. And from Kamala Devi, Alauddin Khalji got a son later. So through Kamala Devi, he got a son. His name was Shihabuddin. Shihabuddin, first sultan to be born to a Hindu mother. So Shihabuddin can be called as the first sultan to be born to a Hindu mother. So this is the conquest of Gujarat. So Rai Karnadeva was the last Hindu ruler of Gujarat. So Gujarat was conquered. Okay, are you there with me? Next, we have the attack on Ranthambore. So you can see here, Karnadeva fled to Devagiri with his daughter Devala Devi. Queen Kamala Devi was captured and married by Alauddin, who gave her the title Malika Jahan. Alap Khan was made the governor of Gujarat. So Alap Khan was made the governor of Gujarat. King was Karnadeva II of Vaghela dynasty. Then the attack happened on Ranthambore. Again, the same commanders, Ulugh Khan, Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan. Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan. So they took a huge army and attacked Ranthambore in Rajasthan. Ranthambore was ruled by Rana Hammir Deva. Raja Hammir Deva was the king. And we have his court poet called Nayachandra Suri. So Nayachandra Suri, his court poet, wrote a book, Nayachandra Suri. Nayachandra Suri wrote a book in praise of Hammir Deva. Hammira Mahakavya. It is called Hammira Mahakavya, written by Nayachandra Suri. Now, when Alauddin's army attacked Ranthambore, the Rajputs gave a tough fight. They came out and they resisted for 7 months. 7 months they were able to hold the fort of Ranthambore. Okay. Now, after 7 months of siege, so siege is what? Siege of Ranthambore. That is, they have surrounded the fort. They have surrounded the fort of Ranthambore, and the attack is being launched on the Ranthambore fort. They want to make a breach in the wall of Ranthambore. They want to make a breach or a hole in the wall and then enter. And cannons were being fired, etc. So the Rajputs sitting in that fort were defending themselves bravely, fighting bravely, and Nusrat Khan was killed. Nusrat Khan, one of the commanders of Alauddin Khalji, was killed. And the news reached the Sultan that Nusrat Khan was killed while conquering Ranthambore. So this angered the Sultan. So he comes personally to inspire his soldiers, and the attack was renewed. Now, after 7 months of siege, what happened is the supply ran out. Inside the fort, they would have stored food and water. Understand this. Inside the fort, they would have stored food and water, which could last for about 6 months, 8 months, 1 year maximum. So let us say here what happened is 7 months they have resisted. They have held the fort, and the supplies ran out. Food, there was no food. Food was almost getting over. Water was also getting over. They did not know what to do. So what did the Rajputs do? Please understand, the first target of an enemy those days, even now for that matter, are women and children. The first target are women and children. So here, the Rajputs, when the siege was going on, Ranthambore, Alauddin's army has surrounded the fort. In the night, they saw flames, smoke, and the screaming and the screeching of women. Women were screaming, shouting in pain, screaming in pain, and the uh, putrefied the smell of human carcass, human flesh, and engulfed air. So the dead bodies being burnt. So what was happening inside Ranthambore fort? The women were committing Jauhar. The women were committing Jauhar. So what is Jauhar? Jauhar. Yeah, once there is a siege, it's a matter of time and not a question of defeat. Yes. So Jauhar. So Jauhar is mass immolation. Mass demolition. So already they'll have an underground chamber. Okay, they'll have an underground chamber which would have already been built. So what the women would do is they will wear their marriage saris, whatever sari they had worn at the time of their marriage, with all the jewels, etc., decoration, all that, and then along with their children, they will kindle a fire in that chamber. They kindle a fire. The gate is closed on top. You cannot escape. You cannot get out once you're inside. And then they will burn themselves to death. With children, pregnant women, old women, young women. So everybody has lost their family members. The women, no, the king has lost his family members, a wife, sister, daughter, cousin, okay, etc. Everybody have lost. So that is Jauhar. So the women were committing Jauhar. So what will the men do? So once the Jauhar is over, all the women have burned themselves to death along with their children. Then the men will perform what is known as a Saka ritual. This is called Jauhar Saka. Jauhar Saka ritual. What is the Saka ritual? The men, obviously, everybody have lost their family members, children, wife, sister, daughter, mother. No, they've all been burnt. They've all burnt themselves to death. So the men will take the ashes of their family members. So they'll smear their ashes on their forehead like that. They'll wear saffron clothes. They'll wear saffron clothes. They'll put a tulsi leaf on their tongue. They'll place a tulsi leaf on their tongue, right? And most of the soldiers, officers, including the king, they're emotional because they've lost all their family members. So they will, to hide their emotions, to hide their pain, withstand their pain. So they will drink. They will drink opium, consume opium or bhang or alcohol, and then they will open the gates of the fort, and with their sword, they will charge at the enemy. They will fall at the enemy with a lot of ferocity. They know that they will get killed, but in the process of getting killed, they would like to kill as many soldiers as possible of the enemies. This is called Johar Saka ritual. So this is, you can call this as an epitome of bravery, sacrifice, and also conjugal love, love between husband and wife. Because the belief was that we'll meet in another plane, in the heavens. So already they have gone there, the family members and the husband or the husband and the brother or whoever it is, he's going to join them very soon. So this is the epitome of bravery, sacrifice, and also conjugal love. So here, when Alauddin Khalji surrounded Ranthambore, we have a Persian scholar, a poet, and a historian. He was more of a poet than a historian. His name was Amir Khusru. Amir Khusru. He accompanied Alauddin Khalji, and Amir Khusru had never heard or seen what is called Jauhar Saka, and he was shocked when he came to know about this practice of the among the Rajputs. He was shocked, and he gives the first Persian description of Johar. In Persian language, he describes Johar. So Ranthambore was conquered. All the women committed Johar, and Rana, Hamir Deva fought and died on the battlefield. And we have Ulugh Khan, who was made the governor of Ranthambore. Ulugh Khan was made the governor. So this is the second attack. First is Gujarat was conquered and Ranthambore. Then the attack happened on Chittor in Rajasthan, Chittorgarh. The ruler was Rana Ratan Singh of the Guhilas or Sisodias. Guhilas are also called Sisodias. Now, recently, sometime back, maybe about 2 years back, one movie came, Padmavat. I'm sure all of you have seen it. Most of you have seen it, Padmavat. So, what they show in that movie, yeah. So what they show in that movie is not factually correct. Okay, some things are, it's a commercial cinema, so I'll not talk about it. What happened actually? No, what was this Padmavat? When was the Padmavat story written? 1540. No, understand this. 1540, Padmavat was written by Malik Muhammad Jayasi. You can see here, Malik Muhammad Jayasi. I'll write MM Jayasi. Malik Muhammad Jayasi writes this Padmavat in 1540. That is during the time of Humayun, when Humayun was the king, Mughal emperor. And what year are we talking about? 1303. 1303 is the attack and conquest of Chittor. So this was written after after more than 200 years, 250, almost 250 years. 1303, almost about nearly 250 years. After 250 years, it was written. And this is an imaginary story written by Malik Muhammad Jayasi. What does he say in this Padmavat? He says, of course, he uses real names in his imaginary story. So it seems real, but it's not so. So he tells us that there was a king by name Rana Ratan Singh. He was already married. Understand this? He was already married. And a parrot came, I believe. A parrot comes to him and informs Rana Ratan Singh that in a faraway island, supposedly Sri Lanka, in a faraway, in a Sinhala island, that is Sri Lanka, a princess, a beautiful princess is waiting for him. So this fellow, married man, Rana Ratan Singh, forgets about his kingdom, and he goes away in search of this elusive princess, far away to Sinhala land. Then he is able to win her over, marries her, and brings her back to Chittor and makes her his queen. Right? The same parrot goes and tells Alauddin Khalji that there's a beautiful princess waiting for you. So who's the villain in this story? The parrot. Okay, there's no truth in the story. Anyway, what does Malik Muhammad Jayasi say? He tells us that Alauddin sent an ambassador to the court of Rana Ratan Singh. He had heard about the beauty of Rani Padmini, and he wanted to see her. So he threatened the Rajputs that if you don't allow me to see your Rani, I'll attack the kingdom. And then the Rajputs thought, okay, let us show Rani Padmini's face to Alauddin Khalji, and then that way we can avoid an attack. But this is utter nonsense because the Rajputs would not allow, they not compromise with their self-respect, and that too about their women, with their women. And a Rajput woman would also wear a veil. She'll wear she'll cover her face. She'll not show her face to other men, no, strange men. Only to the family members she will show her face. So this tradition was there. So it was arranged, I believe, that since she will not be allowed to see directly, Rani Padmini was made to stand opposite a mirror. And from an angle, Alauddin Khalji saw the mirror image of Padmini. And when he saw the mirror image of Padmini, he became more determined to conquer Chittor and possess Padmini. So this is all the imaginary story written by Malik Muhammad Jayasi. Historians consider this as nonsense. They don't consider this as true. So anyway, Alauddin Khalji attacked Chittor. Rana Ratan Singh fought bravely and he died on the battlefield. And the women performed Johar, including Rani Padmini. Thousands of women performed Johar. You can see here on your screen. I have put this. This is the Chittorgarh's Johar Kund. You can see this on the right side of your screen. You can see the underground chamber. This is the underground chamber, okay, which was already built and kept. And then this is the gate. So there are steps going down that gate. You open the gate, then you get down those steps, and the gate is closed, right? And the fire is kindled, fire is lit, and in that chamber. So this is Chittorgarh's Johar Kund, as you can see. This is called the Johar Kund. Now, Colonel Todd, in his book Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan, very beautifully sums it up. When he beautifully puts it, when he talks about the Johar custom, you can see here on your screen. If you read it, you get goosebumps when you read this description of Colonel Todd. He says the Rajput women, preferring death to dishonor, perform that horrible rite, the Johar, where the females are immolated to preserve them from pollution or captivity. The funeral pyre was lighted within the great subterranean retreat, that is the underground chamber. So the funeral pyre was lighted within the great subterranean retreat in the chambers impervious to the light of the day. So it was a dark chamber. Sunlight will not come there. So in the chambers impervious to the light of the day, and the defenders of Chittor, behold in possessions the queens, their own wives and daughters, to the number of several thousands. The fair Padmini closed the throng. So she was the last to get in. She called all the women into the chamber, and then she was the last to get in, and then she closed the door. Okay, and then they were conveyed to the cavern, that is the flames, and the opening closed upon them, leaving them to find security from dishonor in the devouring element, he says, Colonel Todd, in his Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan. Now, one of the reasons why the Rajputs also performed this very scary custom or Jauhar rite was because many of the soldiers of the enemies were also would also practice necrophilia. What is necrophilia? Having sex with a dead body. That's called necrophilia. Pedophilia, is having sex with children. So to avoid all that, even after death, I would not want to part with even a inch of my body. So they'll burn themselves to death along with their children, and then the men will follow later. Now, if there was a sudden attack, you see, if there was a spy, if the spies came and informed the Rajput king that Alauddin Khalji or some other Muslim ruler is planning an attack, what they'll do is they'll send away their women and children to the interior villages. They'll send away their women and children, the handicapped, old people, to the interior villages, far away, deep villages, and then they'll prepare themselves. They'll prepare themselves to defend the food. They'll store food, water, etc., ammunition, etc., which would last for about 6 months, 8 months, 1 year maximum. And then they will fight the enemy. In case the enemy comes, attacks, they'll fight the enemy. But if it was a sudden attack, they were taken by surprise. They don't know what to do, and the only option was this: they will defend till they can, and then once the food supply ran out, the water supply ran out, the Rajputs would commit this. Women will burn themselves, and then later the men will follow suit. But then they will also try to kill as many of the enemies as possible. So this is Chittor. Chittor was conquered. Alauddin Khalji's son, Khizr Khan, was made the governor of Chittor, and Chittor was renamed Khizrabad. You can see here on your screen. So Khizrabad, it was renamed Khizrabad. Malik Shaheen ran the administration. So Padmavat was written in 1540. Please understand, it is an imaginary story. There's no truth in that. But then anyway, historians don't believe in that. So Gujarat, Ranthambore, Chittor. So don't worry about the years. Just remember the sequence of events. Gujarat, Ranthambore, Chittor. They'll not ask you years. Next, Malwa. So Malwa was again attacked. Malwa was ruled by Malak Deo, and all these, you know, uh, forts were conquered. Mandu, Ujjain, Dhar, and Chanderi. So Mandu, Ujjain, Dhar, Chanderi were conquered. Ainul Mulk was appointed as the governor of Malwa. Malak Deva was the king. Then we have Marwar. Marwar, that is Shivana, was conquered. Shital Deva of the Paramaras was the king. Kamaluddin Kurg was made in charge of the fort. And lastly, Jalore in Rajasthan, ruled by Kaner Deva. Here also, the campaign was led by Kamaluddin Kurg. So this is a sequential order in which Alauddin conquered North India. Gujarat, Ranthambore, Chittor, Malwa, Shivana, that is Marwar, and Jalore. So this completed the conquest of North India, right? And then one more thing I forgot to mention. Understand this: when Gujarat was conquered, okay, who was the king? Karnadeva II. When Gujarat was conquered, I told you Rai Karnadeva ran away to Maharashtra. He went away to the Yadava kingdom with his daughter. These two commanders of Alauddin Khalji, Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan, they went to Cambay. So they went to Kambayat or Cambay Fort, Cambay Port, or Cambay or Kambayat. And there they saw a very handsome looking eunuch. They saw a very handsome eunuch. They paid 1,000 gold pieces to procure him, to buy him. So Alauddin Khalji had, like many men, he had also had his weakness. And one weakness was that he liked eunuchs. No, he liked eunuchs, transgenders. So they knew his weakness. So what they did is They paid 1,000 gold coins to buy this eunuch. So they paid 1,000 dinars. Dinar means gold coins. And they procured this eunuch or transgender, and they sent him as a gift, sent that person, eunuch, as a gift to Alauddin Khalji to Delhi. When Alauddin Khalji saw this eunuch, he was impressed. Okay, he was very happy and impressed, and he gave him a name. He gave this eunuch a name, Malik Kafur. He called him Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur. And Malik Kafur is also called Hazar Dinari for that reason. Malik Kafur is also called Hazar Dinari because because he had been paid. He was bought for 1,000 dinars or gold pieces, Hazar Dinari. And South India was later conquered by Malik Kafur. It was Alauddin Khalji who trained Malik Kafur. And later he entrusted the responsibility of conquering South India to Malik Kafur. Okay, so we'll come back here. Are you clear here, all of you? And I have given you examples of Jauhar. You see, one is a famous Jauhar I just now mentioned. I have given you some examples here. Uh, of course, the Padmavati episode is one famous incident of Jauhar. That is number one. Number two is we have, the Battle of Khanwa. Understand this? When we come to Mughals, we'll talk about it. So in 1527, in 1526, Babur conquered Delhi. Uh, he conquered in the first battle of Panipat. In the first battle of Panipat, Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi and killed him and established the Mughal Empire. In 1520, so this, yeah, 1527, we have in 1527 we have the Battle of Khanwa. We have the Battle of Khanwa. So Battle of Khanwa was fought between Babur and Rana Sangram Singh or Rana Sangha of Mewar. Rana Sangram Singh. Rana Sangram Singh or Rana Sangha. So in this battle, Babur won. But then Rana Sangram Singh was grievously wounded. So he was grievously wounded and it brought about his death in a very short period of time. So his queen, Rana Sangram Singh's queen, was Rani Karnavati. Rani Karnavati. And Rani Karnavati's son, the son of Rang Sangram Singh and Karnavati, was still a minor. So she did not want to commit sati. She did not want to commit sati. She had two sons, Vikramaditya and Uday Singh II. Uday Singh II and Vikramaditya. So what she did is, she sent a Rakhi. Instead of committing sati, she sent a Rakhi to Humayun because this is the time when Bahadur Shah of Gujarat, the king of Gujarat, attacked Chittor. Okay, Rana Sangram Singh, king of Chittor. So you have this Bahadur Shah of Gujarat attacking Chittor. So she sent a Rakhi to Humayun asking for help. And Humayun could not immediately come to the assistance of Rani Karnavati because he was busy in his Bengal campaign. So Rani Karnavati came to know that he's busy in his Bengal campaign. It will take some time for him to come to her assistance. So by the time he would come, she knew that it would be too late. So what she did is, Rani Karnavati, with 13,000 women, she shut herself. She shut herself in an enclosure, and then she ordered her soldiers to light the gunpowder. So huge amount of gunpowder was stored. So she asked the soldiers to detonate the gunpowder, right? And before that, it was arranged that a servant lady, I forget the name of that servant lady, she had a servant lady. That servant lady would bring up the two children so that the lineage could be continued. So these two children were Vikramaditya and Uday Singh II. Uday Singh II became the father of Rana Pratap. So this servant lady smuggled these two children away from the fort, right? And then the gunpowder was detonated, and 13,000 women, imagine 13,000 women, along with Rani Karnavati, burned themselves to death. Of course, Humayun came, but then he defeated Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. He installed Vikramaditya on the throne, but then it was too late, because already Karnavati had killed herself. This is the famous Jauhar. Similarly, we have another example of a Jauhar where Akbar attacked Chittor. Later, Akbar attacked Chittor. And who was the king of Chittor? Rana Uday Singh II. Rana Uday Singh, the same boy, Rani Karnavati's son, one of the sons of Rani Karnavati, Uday Singh II. And with an army of 30,000, Akbar surrounded the fort of Chittor. And the Rajputs, Uday Singh II, with his wives and young Rana Pratap, they were advised by Uday Singh's commanders. Uday Singh had two commanders, young boys. Their names was Jaimal and Patta. Their names were Jaimal and Patta, 17-year-old boys. They were the commanders of Uday Singh II. So these two commanders advised the Rana, Uday Singh, please escape with your family and we will hold the Mughal army. We will fight against the Mughal army. So with the part of his army, Uday Singh II, along with young Rana Pratap and other family members, escaped from Chittor. And these two boys, Jaimal and Patta, with 3,000 soldiers, defended the fort of Chittor for a few weeks. So Akbar was determined to conquer Chittor. When I come to Akbar, I'll talk about it. But then they were fighting so bravely, these two boys and the Rajputs, that it took him some time to make a breach in the fort wall. But then cannons were being fired. Cannons were being fired by the Mughals against the fort wall of Chittor. Then in the evening, there'll be no fighting in the evening because it is dark during those days. So in the dusk, in the twilight, uh, after the war was over, after the battle of that day was over, Akbar saw somebody on the fort wall of Chittor, some person, getting the fort wall repaired, and from the type of dress he was wearing, he understood that he is an important person. So Akbar took aim with his rifle gun. He took an aim and he shot at that person. That bullet went and hit the leg of Jaimal. Jaimal was one of the commanders. He was supervising the repair, and that the boy fell on the other side. And that night we have Jauhar. So the Mughals saw flames from the Chittor fort. Women were committing Jauhar. And next day, these two boys, Jaimal with his plaster, he had plastered his wound. They came out fighting, and they fought very bravely, and they were killed in the process. But then, immediately after this war, after he conquered a part of Chittor, you have Akbar ordering the two statues of Jaimal and Patta sitting on black marble elephants with their spears be installed outside the main gate of the Agra fort. So accordingly, the order was implemented quickly. Two statues of black marble with Jaimal and Patta sitting on elephants with spears were installed outside the main gate of the Agra fort. But because of weathering, they have got dismantled. The elephants have disappeared because of marble. Marble is not as strong as granite. So because of the Rajasthan heat, it expands and contracts. So marble has disintegrated. But then the two statues are also not in great shape. They were taken to Delhi and they are outside the Lahori gate of the Red Fort. You have the Delhi gate and the Lahori gate. Outside the Delhi gate of the Red Fort, it has been installed. So this is some of the instances of Jauhar, which I remembered. So this is the conquest of North India. Then Alauddin decided to entrust the responsibility of conquering South India to his general Malik Kafur. So, so given all these things, so here you can see. No, no, Nikhil, you cannot say. See, forts. Kautilya says, that with a fort you can defend yourself for 3 months or even 1 year if you have adequate supplies inside the fort. So those days, forts played a very important role. Even if you take the history of Shivaji Maharaj, you can see that he had about 240 forts in his control, and he understood that if you control the forts, you control that area. So those days, but then the terrain of Maharashtra is different. It was difficult for an enemy to pursue the Marathas in that terrain. If you look at the forts, hill forts of Maharashtra, it was at a heavy cost that they would have to follow the Marathas, because it was not easy to climb those forts, 60-degree angle, 70-degree angle forts. But then the same would not apply to other parts of India. So the Rajputs held on to those forts with adequate supplies. But once it ran out, they were helpless. Okay, so we'll come back here. Malik Kafur was the person who was entrusted with the responsibility of conquering South India. Now you see here, Alauddin Khalji, I'll show. Alauddin Khalji gave specific instructions to Malik Kafur. He told Malik Kafur, you attack South India, but then don't kill those kings. You conquer the territories, defeat them in war, conquer the territories, but then don't kill them, provided they agree to send tribute to Delhi regularly and accept me as their overlord. So the southern kings should accept Alauddin Khalji as their overlord. Okay, and every year they're supposed to send a certain amount of money as a tribute to Delhi. If these two conditions are fulfilled, the kingdoms should be given back to their respective rulers, and those rulers should not be killed. This is the specific instruction given by Alauddin Khalji to Malik Kafur, and thereupon Malik Kafur, with a large army, attacked South India. So, as you all know, this is how the states are. This is Maharashtra. This is Maharashtra. This is Andhra Pradesh, as you know, AP. This is Karnataka here, and this is Tamil Nadu. So this is how the attack happened. Maharashtra, number 1. Number 2, Andhra Pradesh. Number 3, Karnataka. Number 4, Tamil Nadu. Right. So who was ruling Maharashtra? Did you get me? Kola. Why didn't you do the same with North India? We'll come to that, Kola. Just hold on. You yourself will know the answer. Let us discuss South India first, and then yourself will know the answer. So, Maharashtra was ruled by the Yadavas. Yadavas. Jia is right. Yadavas of Devagiri. Who was the king? Who was the king? R.C. Deva. Ramachandra Deva. Old king. And if you remember, the Gujarat king had taken shelter here. Gujarat king. Who was the Gujarat king? Raikaran. Raikaran II of the Vaghela dynasty, isn't it? So Raikaran had taken shelter here. Raikaran Deva of Gujarat had taken shelter here. So when Malik Kafur attacked the Yadava kingdom, Ramachandra Deva fought bravely along with the Gujarat king. Raikaran was killed. Raikaran Deva was killed, and his daughter Devala Devi was caught. Devala Devi, the daughter of Kamala Devi, Devala Devi. So she was captured, and she was sent to Delhi as a gift. So she was sent to Delhi as a gift, and Devala Devi was married by Khizr Khan. Alauddin's son, Khizr Khan, married Devala Devi. So Alauddin married Kamala Devi, and Khizr Khan, his son, married Devala Devi. Right. So Rai Karna lost his life. Ramachandra Deva was taken captive. Understand this. Ramachandra Deva was also captured, and he was sent to Delhi as a prisoner of war. So Ramachandra Deva was sent to Delhi as a prisoner of war. And so R.C. Deva, he was here. Old king, so Alauddin Khalji treated him with respect. And after thinking for some time, Ramachandra Deva told Alauddin Khalji that he would like to give his daughter in marriage to Alauddin. Alauddin was very happy. So who was the daughter of Ramachandra Deva? Jatyapali. Her name was Jatyapali. So Alauddin Khalji was very happy. He married Jatyapali, and then he asked Ramachandra Deva to go back to his kingdom. And he gave him the title. Before sending him back to his kingdom, he gave him a title, Rai Rayan. He gave him the title of Rai Rayan. 1 lakh gold pieces, 1 lakh tankas, 1 lakh tankas. And the Gujarat district of Navsari. So you have a district called Navsari in Gujarat. That district was given as additional charge to Ramachandra Deva. So Ramachandra Deva came back to Devagiri, and he became a friend of Alauddin. He became an ally of Alauddin. So, in fact, Devagiri served has a camp, has an advanced base camp for the Delhi army. So the Delhi army will come marching from Delhi. They will take rest in Devagiri. Ramachandra Deva will play host. So the Delhi army is fed there. They will take rest. They are entertained. Meanwhile, the spies of Ramachandra Deva will fan out. They'll fan out in other parts of South India, to other parts of South India, and they'll collect information, and they'll come and tell Ramachandra Deva, who in turn will convey it to them, who in turn would convey it to Malik Kafur. So Devagiri acted as a base for further inroads of the Delhi army into the south. Did you get me that, all of you? Okay, so here Ramachandra Deva was sent back, and he was given back his kingdom, and he became an ally of Alauddin Khalji. Then we have the attack on Andhra Pradesh. Who were ruling Andhra Pradesh? Kakatiyas. Kakatiyas of Warangal. Kakatiyas of Warangal were ruling Andhra Pradesh. And who was the king of the Kakatiyas? Pratapa Rudra Deva. Pratapa Rudra II. Pratapa Rudra II. He was also defeated. So he was defeated, and he agreed to pay tribute to Delhi and accept Alauddin as his overlord. So therefore, his kingdom was given back. But then, please understand, the Kakatiya kingdom was plundered by Malik Kafur. He looted the Kakatiya kingdom. If you go to Warangal, you see that destruction done by the army of Malik Kafur, vandalism, temples have been broken, etc. And huge amount of wealth from the Kakatiya kingdom was put on 1,000 camels, not 100 camels, 1,000 camels. So on 1,000 camels, huge amount of wealth was put on their backs, and via Devagiri, all these camels were taken to Delhi. So I believe the camels were screeching under the weight of wealth put on their backs. They were screaming in pain under the weight of wealth put on their backs. So the whole, it was, Kakatiya kingdom was plundered and looted. Then we have the attack on Karnataka, ruled by the Hoysalas. And who was the king of the Hoysalas? Veera Ballala III. Veera Ballala III. He was the king of the Hoysalas. He also fought bravely, but then he was defeated, and he agreed to pay tribute to Alauddin Khalji. So certain amount of vandalism has also happened here in Belur, Halebid, etc. And a lot of wealth was also taken away from the Hoysala kingdom. So Maharashtra, Andhra, Karnataka, and then happened the attack on Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu was ruled by the Pandyas, with Madurai as capital, as you know. And there was a civil war going on there. There was a civil war going on there between two brothers, Veera Pandya versus Sundara Pandya. Veera Pandya and Sundara Pandya. These are the two brothers who were fighting for the throne. There was a civil war going on, and these two were the sons of Kulashekara Pandya. The Kulashekara Pandya, their father, was the one who built the main shrine of the Meenakshi temple, the Garbhagriha of the Meenakshi temple. So what happened is, this Malik Kafur attacked Veera Pandya. So the elder brother was Sundara. Sundara was the elder brother. So he was the actual ruler, elder brother, Sundara Pandya. So Malik Kafur attacked Veera Pandya. Veera Pandya ran away to Kannur, Kannur in Kerala. He ran away to Kannur, and a part of his treasure. So he ran away with his family, and a part of his treasure was captured by Malik Kafur. Then Malik Kafur attacked Mashura, that is Madurai, which was ruled by Sundara Pandya. But Sundara Pandya already had run away with his family and the treasure. But then we have the uncle of these two brothers, Vikrama Pandya. Vikrama Pandya, the uncle of these two brothers, he rallied the Pandyan forces. So he brought all the Pandyan army together, regrouped, and then he gave a tough fight to Malik Kafur. And he defeated Malik Kafur. Vikrama Pandya was able to defeat Malik Kafur. And Malik Kafur retreated to bring a larger army, but he never came back. Now, who has told us this information? An expert on South Indian history, Professor K. Neelakanta Shastri. Professor K. A. Neelakanta Shastri, who had extensively studied South Indian history, particularly Cholas and the Vijayanagar kingdoms, he tells us that the fact that Malik Kafur came all the way to Rameshwaram, installed a victory pillar there, built a mosque there, and then he went back is a later day fabrication. It is not true. It is a later day fabrication. There's no truth in that, he says. So he came up to Madurai. There, Vikrama Pandya defeated Malik Kafur, and Malik Kafur retreated and went back to Delhi. Okay, so the attack on the Pandyas was not fully successful. It was not fully successful. But what was the end result of the southern campaigns of Alauddin Khilji? South India was drained of its resources. South India was drained of a huge amount of wealth, right? That was the end result. Now, look here. Ramachandra Deva died. The king of the Yadavas, Ramachandra Deva died. Then what happened? You have his son, Shankara Deva, who became the king of the Yadavas, Shankara Deva. And Shankara Deva is also called Singhana the Third. Singhana the Third. Singhana the Third. Now, the Singhana the Third or Shankara Deva refused to pay tribute to Alauddin Khilji or accept him as his overlord. He said, I will not pay tribute, neither will I accept him as my overlord. As a result, Alauddin Khilji ordered Malik Kafur to attack and conquer Devagiri. Malik Kafur came with a large army, killed Shankara Deva in battle, and annexed Devagiri. So, among the southern kingdoms, the only kingdom which was annexed by Malik Kafur was Devagiri. Remember that. So, Devagiri was the only kingdom annexed by Alauddin Khilji. Did you understand? Hello, all of you. Are you there with me? So that was the only kingdom annexed by Alauddin Khilji. So these are the, you can see, come back here, we'll come back to the map. You can see on your screen, this is the route taken by the Delhi army. Delhi, Devagiri, then of course you have the attack on Warangal and then Karnataka and then Tamil Nadu. So I put a chart for your convenience. So what was the main aim of attacking South India? So let us answer Kola. Why didn't he do the same with North India? Kola, why didn't he do the same with North India? Anybody can answer that? He could have. Why did he kill the southern? Why did he annex the northern kingdoms? Why didn't he not do the same with South India? Use your common sense, Kola. You can answer it if you just think properly, think deeply. Then you can yourself answer that question. Anybody? Shilpa says trading because they were already under him. Kola says geography. What is geography? Gia is so right. See Gia's answer. Because he could rule North India directly. South was far away. Yeah, Gia. Gia is bingo right. Kola probably meant the same. Geography. See, during those days, given the limitations of transport and communication, it was difficult to directly rule over South India. So he adopted a very smart method. He defeated the southern kings, but asked them to pay tribute. and accept him as their overlord. Probably, if you think deeply, Alauddin Khalji was a good student of history. Don't you think so? Somebody in ancient India, some king in ancient India had done that. Who was that king? Think about it. Who was that king in South? Who was that king in ancient India who had done that? Think. Samudragupta, Jia, very good. Samudragupta, you remember Dakshinapatha campaigns of Samudragupta. He defeated all the southern kings, gave back their kingdoms on the condition that they accept the Gupta king as their overlord and pay tribute. Uh, So Grahana, Moksha, Anugraha, I have spoken about it. So Alauddin Khalji did the same thing, what Samudragupta had done long time back. But then please understand, Muhammad bin Tughlaq did not learn from history. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he tried to annex South India directly. He annexed the Pandya kingdom. He annexed Kakadiya kingdom. And the Delhi Sultanate expanded to its maximum territorial extent. Sitting in Delhi, he was not able to manage the south. One of the reasons why he shifted the capital to south was to manage both north and south equally well. But he failed in that effort. And in the last 10 years of his rule, of Muhammad bin Tughlaq's rule, many rebellions took place, and he was not able to handle everything. So he had decent. This is an example of decentralization. Alauddin Khalji, sort of decentralized everything. He took the wealth. He did not directly rule over the south, but he allowed them to rule themselves, provided they pay tribute and accept him as his overlord. Smart man, very smart man, isn't it? So we should learn from history. So Alauddin Khalji probably was a good history student. So we'll come back here. So main aim of southern campaigns of Alauddin Khalji, main aim to loot the glittering gold stored there. He wanted to loot the glittering gold stored there and compel the rulers to accept his suzerainty. He appointed Malik Kafur to do the job for him. Probably Malik Kafur looked like this. So you can see on your screen, we have Amir Khusro's Khazain al-Futuh. This is the book written by Amir Khusro. It talks about the southern campaigns of Alauddin Khalji. Khazain ul-Futuh, Amir Khusro's Khazain al-Futuh describes Kafur's southern expeditions. You can see on your screen, number one, Yadava Kingdom, Maharashtra, the capital Devagiri, King Ramachandra Deva. So he had become Sultan with the wealth of Devagiri. Later, he also, once he became Sultan, wanted to drain South India of its wealth. He knew that there was a lot of wealth in South India because it was relatively peaceful, far away from northwest attacks. Vindhya mountains gave a lot of protection to the people of the south. So, and also the distance. So, because of that reason, a lot of trade took place through the oceans, 3 oceans, and of course, fertile deltas. So, there was a lot of wealth. So, here, number one, Yadava kingdom. Number two is Kakatiya. This was the second attempt. I told you, 1303. They were able to repel the attack of Alauddin Khalji. Kakatiyas had repelled the attack of Alauddin Khalji in 1303. But in 1310, second attempt, they were able to defeat the Kakatiyas. Prataparudra II agreed to pay tribute. Then we have the Hoysalas, ruled by Veerabala III. He was also defeated. And Pandyas, I have already mentioned here, partly successful. So Sundara Pandya was the king. Right. So you can see on your screen, Devagiri, Ramachandra Deva was taken prisoner to Delhi, later released. Why was he released? He agreed to give his daughter in marriage to Alauddin Khalji. Jatyapali was his daughter. So he gave his daughter in marriage to Alauddin. Then he was released, given 1 lakh gold pieces, gold tankas, Rai Rayan title, Gujarat district of Navsari. Then Esrois, I told you, Devagiri served as a base for Khilji military operations in the Deccan in the far south. Then Warangal was conquered and huge amount of wealth was taken away. 1,000 camels groaning under the weight of treasure. So he drained away the entire wealth of the Kakatiya kingdom. Then I told you in Pandyas there was a civil war in the Pandya kingdom between Veera Pandya and Sundara. Kafur's army attacked Bir Dol, that is Urayur, the capital of Veera Pandya. Veera Pandya ran away to Kandur, that is Kannanur, Kerala. So Kafur captured a part of its treasure. Then Kafur attacked Mashura, that is Madurai, main capital of the Pandyas. Sundara Pandya had already run away with his family and treasure. Then you have the uncle Vikrama Pandya who fought bravely and defeated Kafur. So K. Nilakanta Shastri, he says, the story of Kafur building a mosque and setting up a pillar of victory at Rameshwaram is considered a later day fabrication. The expedition to the Tamil country was thus only a military raid and not a very successful one at that. It was not very successful as regards the attack on the Pandyan kingdom. But then the end result was South India was drained of a vast amount of treasure. Okay, then I told you later after his death, Ramachandra Deva, after the death of Ramachandra Deva, his son Shankara Deva became the king, Singana III. He revolted against the Sultan and later Malik Kafur killed him and conquered and annexed Yadava kingdom. So after these extensive conquests, Alauddin adopted the title Sikandar al-Sani, the second Alexander. He took the title second Alexander. And also we have Malik Kafur who was made Deputy Sultan, Naib Sultan or Deputy Sultan. So Malik Kafur was made Deputy Sultan, right? All clear? Hello, hello, all of you, all clear? Okay, so I will only do the revolts of Alauddin Khalji. So I think I have run out of gas. My throat is also paining. What we'll do is I will just briefly talk about the revolts of Alauddin Khalji, then market reforms, revenue reforms, etc. I'll complete it in next weekend, and then finish Delhi Sultanate, go to Mughals, etc. Mughals, Marathas, etc. We will finish it next weekend and start with art and culture. Okay, now we'll come back here. When Alauddin Khalji, understand this, I just talk about his revolts, the many revolts which took place during his period, and what are the measures taken by Alauddin Khalji. Okay, now listen up. So here, when he came to power, Alauddin Khalji, when he became Sultan, he saw that there were a number of revolts taking place within his kingdom. And he deliberated about it. He thought about it, deeply thought about it. Why so many revolts are happening? And then he had a core group of ministers, advisors, Majlis Ekas, Majlis Ekas, special, special advisors, very close to him. So with them, he had a meeting. He had he counseled with them, along with them, and then he came to four reasons. He identified four reasons as to why so many revolts are happening throughout his empire. Number one, you can see here on your screen, general prosperity of his officials. On your screen, general prosperity of his officials. So many of his officers had received tax-free land grants from the previous sultans. Like, for example, Inam, that is state gift, Waqf, Inam, Idrar, Waqf, etc. So these are all tax-free land grants, previous, which the previous sultans had given to these officials. So they can sit and eat without having to work. They can sit and eat, and when you have a lot of wealth with you, you become arrogant. So, because of that reason, these officers might revolt. They were revolting because of that reason, because they had a lot of wealth with them. And when you have a lot of wealth without having to work for it, you become arrogant. So that was his understanding, right? The general prosperity of his officials. Number two, social intercourse and marriage compact amongst the nobles. So nobles are going to each other's houses frequently. So there's a party, there's a function. So nobles are going to each other's houses. They're frequenting each other's houses, right? And also there's marriage compact between the nobles. Like for example, one noble's daughter is married by another noble's son. So earlier they were friends. Now they became relations. They have become relations, and as a result, now that they're relations, there could be a possibility of conspiring against a sultan because nothing will be leaked out. Everything is within the family, so they will keep it a secret, and there could be a conspiracy hatched against a sultan. This could be another reason. Then drinking parties among the nobles, which bred conspiracies. So one noble will invite his friends for a drinking party, and when they drink alcohol, what will happen? The mind will become loose, the tongue will start wagging, and whatever is there within will come out. So when people drink, things which are there hidden in their brain will start coming out, and there could be a conspiracy. If others come to know, they also open their mouth, and they also are thinking on similar lines. There could be a conspiracy hatched against the Sultan. So drinking parties, and lastly, the spy system was not working properly. The spy department, the espionage system was inefficient, not working properly. So general prosperity of his officials, social intercourse amongst the nobles and marriage compact amongst them, drinking parties amongst nobles, and the spy system was inefficient. So, having identified the causes for the revolts, Alauddin Khalji quickly implemented certain measures. So, what did he do? All the wealth from the nobles was taken away. So earlier they were enjoying all these tax-free land grants, Inam, Idrar, Waqf, etc. All were taken away, and the officers, he ordered his officers to tax the officers heavily. So as a result, what happened is whatever savings the officers had, they lost everything. They lost all their lands which the previous sultans had granted them. So they lost that, and whatever savings they had with them, that also they lost. So they were reduced to almost penury, and from morning till evening they have to work to earn their bread butter. So when you have to work the whole day, you don't have time to think of a conspiracy. So he reduced the officials to penury, literally, because he ordered his officials to tax them heavily. So look at his brain, medieval brain, how it is working. The number one. Number two, social intercourse and marriage compact amongst nobles. So he ordered that nobles should not visit each other's houses. At the same time, you have, public were also prevented from frequenting the houses of officers and nobles. Public cannot go. At the same time, he appointed spies all over the empire, in noblemen's houses, around, outside on the streets. The tonga driver maybe a slave. The beggar sitting outside a nobleman's house under a tree every day might be a slave. No, servants might be slaves, etc. So slaves were appointed everywhere. They were found in officers' houses, in their farms, in their offices, etc. So every day they would send reports to the Sultan, who came to a person's house, and what was that noble doing, etc., etc. So as Sultan will go through those reports, and he knew what each noble was doing. Even if that person was doing it within his house, he knew it because of those spies deployed there. At the same time, the nobles could not enter into marriage compact without the permission of the sultan. So, if a noble wants to give, let us say, his son in marriage to another noble's daughter, he has to first seek the permission of the sultan. He has to say, "I want to give my son in marriage to that noble's daughter. Your permission is required." If the sultan says okay, then the marriage will take place. Otherwise, they have to find some other people for their children, okay, to marry. So this is number two. Number three is he introduced prohibition in Delhi and the surrounding areas. Liquor manufacturing was banned. You cannot manufacture liquor in Delhi and in the surrounding areas. Now, when you don't have liquor, what is the fun of party? So most of the nobles used to party because there was a liquor involved. So, what is the point in just going and eating food without liquor? So therefore, when liquor was prohibited, when prohibition was introduced, and there was no liquor, then there was no fun in the parties, right? So that was one thing. And later, what he did is he gave concessions to the nobles. He said, you can make liquor in your house and drink, wine in your house and drink, but you cannot sell the wine. So for your personal purposes, you make wine and drink, but no, you cannot sell it in the market. And neither you can have a party, drinking parties, drinking in public, having bhang and other mind altering substances. They were all banned, including opium. So all that was banned. And then he strengthened the spy system. Spies were deployed everywhere. Okay, and you have munias, buried were spy officers. Buried were spy officers. Munias were spies. Ordinary spies were called munias. They were deployed everywhere. And these spies sent independent reports to the Sultan. And as a result, people were afraid of speaking. And the people were afraid of speaking because if Sultan comes to know, he might kill them. Therefore, automatically the revolts disappeared. Automatically, revolts disappeared throughout his empire. These are the various measures he took to stop or control these revolts. Okay, so I have run out of energy, my throat, and of course, energy is whole day we have spoken. We will do one thing. We'll stop here. Um, it's about what time? 7:25. We'll continue Alauddin Khalji, market reforms, revenue reforms, etc. I'll do it next class, and we'll finish Khalji's, then go to Tughlaqs and etc. and finish this chapter. So you have a see, Nikhil, these are all tax-free land grants. Tax-free land grants, which the nobles were enjoying without having to pay any taxes to the government. So they'll enjoy all the proceeds from the land without having to pay taxes. And when so therefore they don't need to work for their money because everything is coming to them easily. And that's why they were arrogant. That's how we identified the revolts. One of the reasons for the revolts. So can we call it a day, all of you? With your permission, you have a great day. Have a happy Holi, safe Holi, whoever is celebrating Holi, that is, and then we'll meet next weekend. Thank you for your patience. You have a great day. Any doubts, please message me. Any mail me. Waqf is endowment. Waqf is endowment. Um, endowment is called waqf. Okay. So anything, you just mail me. So thank you very much for your patience. I'm logging out. Good night.